So, hi Priya, how are you? How are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing fine, Shalu. What about you?
I am doing good. So, hi everybody. This is Priya. She's doing her PhD in University of Nebraska in US, and she's here today to share her viewpoints about living in US and how should you proceed about your application procedure. So, we'll start from here. Okay, so first you introduce yourself, like from where you have done your bachelor's, master's, how did you thought about US?
Um, I always wanted to do my higher education in US, but I was planning to come here during my masters, but it's get very hard because the amount of fees you have to pay is very high. So I thought of completing. I completed my bachelor's from Kirodi Mill College. I completed that in bachelor's of life sciences, and then because I was a biology student and I wanted to shift in chemistry. So during my secondary education, like in my 12th standard, I had biology. I didn't have maths, so I was not eligible for IIT exam because I have to give maths for that. So I took admission in a state university, D. Chris Murthal, so its name is Deen Bandhu Choturam University of Science and Technology. When I got admission there, I never thought that I will get admission in US because everybody prefers most of the recognized university, and nobody prefers a state university. But still, I took help of my professor. I joined as a intern there during my coursework. So I completed a project, 1 year project there, and on the basis of that, I started applying. I applied in total 8 universities in US, and I got admission from 4 universities, which was Michigan Tech, Kansas State, University of Nebraska, and George Mason University. I really like University of Nebraska Lincoln, and the professor was also really great. So I just said yes to that offer, and here I am.
Cool. So this is like very early question, but students usually think if you're from IIT or maybe
Uh,
deep or bigger universities, then only you will get PhD abroad. Plus, they also think that you should have like really great CGPA, about 9 plus. So if you're comfortable in sharing your CGPA and
oh yeah.
like how
So
did you get?
yeah, during my initial years of bachelor's, I wasn't very serious. But later I got to know that if I want to do my higher education somewhere in abroad, I need a very good CGPA. So I started studying. I started studying very good during my third years, and my total CGPA in bachelor's was 7.95. And also during my master's, my total CGPA was 7.95. So it was not like 9 plus or something.
Perfect. But like still you got. So that's a bubble of people like
Yeah.
they don't get if they have in 7 or 8.
I think I think more it matters is if you're professor, you're reaching out to if their backgrounds, research backgrounds aligns with your research background. I think they are happy to have you in your department. Also, I've realized this one thing here. People say that if you have a if you have failed in one of the examination and you take it again and it's showing on your transcripts, it's gonna make your admission more tough. But it's not the case here. I've because I have a YouTube channel also, so I've talked to my professors what happens if a person fails an examination and that shows on his transcript. So he said if the person managed to clear it again in the next attempt, we are fine with it. Why do we care? People fail in the examination. So it's not a case. Yeah, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, if you are improving in your second attempt, it doesn't matter. I don't think so they consider it as long as you have any research experience. So if my scores weren't good, I would say that because I almost wrote a paper, it wasn't published, so I couldn't say that it was published, but I had given my thesis, which was not part of my course in the department.
Perfect. Uh, One question, like, did you find it difficult to grab the PhD abroad because you are from straight university? Did you think it was a bit difficult for you?
Yeah, so why it was difficult for me? Because my connections, so in state university, most of the people don't go for study higher abroad. They usually apply for courses, but they are not for PhD. So I didn't had any good connections. In IIT, you get this opportunity that your seniors are also applying, that they get this opportunity of making good connections. But I didn't had any connection. Also, my professor didn't had any idea what's the thing required for that. So I did a YouTube hunting, proper YouTube hunting for 2 months, I would say. I used to watch a couple of videos and all that stuff. So the only problem I think was the connection, and had someone to give me directions. Where should I apply? What should I do on time? When should I give my IELTS? And when should I write my SOP? So I would say that part was taking a toll on my mental health when I was applying for universities abroad. Other than that, I don't think so that it matters that if you are from state university, because I've also seen like so many people. I talked to one professor. They said like, "Do you think it's a good university? Do you look at this course?" So they have idea about IIT because most of the people apply from IIT. But if one of your seniors is from for example, the university where I am, so it's a state university. If I'm from there, like my professor asked that this student is also from state university, what do you think about it? So I will say, yeah, look at this course. It's good. I think it's good. So it doesn't matter as long as I say like you have a research experience.
Sounds great. Okay, so out of the context question, like you have a really good YouTube channel. Even my mother is fan of that YouTube channel. You have 97K plus subscribers now, right? So how do you manage all of that?
It's very hard. So the only thing I regretted, like after coming here in US with a YouTube channel, so my reach was increased. I know my reach was increased, but I cannot get any money out of it. But still, I get the motivation because I get a lot of comments and a lot of people reaching out to me on LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube that we really love your content. It's relatable. Like the PhD students can relate. Even if the stories are like stupid, I want like that stories to be heard. So I think that that's the part of it which feels like I should really make content. Also because I'm living like away from my parents, they really found it very great because every time they're like, "Oh, we know what you did. We know what you did." It's fine. So like sometimes I don't call them like during the day. Like it's been like 2 days I don't call them, and they're like, "We know what you did. We watched your videos." So I think that's the part like where I get the motivation like from my parents, and also like the PhD stories. I want people to relate because most of the people have this uh, like stereotype that PhD students are like just studying and they don't do anything. Even if I like, post pictures and post stupid like stories about like I'm chilling somewhere with my friends, they're like, her PhDs must be not going well because she is doing such kind of things and other than research.
I was
So I think I want to break the stigma that we don't only do research, we have also other life apart from PhD.
exactly. PhD is just a part of life, and the thing
Yeah, PhD is
evolving
not a
into.
like life.
Yeah. Yeah, my even tagline is this on Instagram.
Yeah, because you when you create social like when you create content, most of the people think that you are extrovert
Yeah,
and you
exactly.
talk with everyone. You're like a social butterfly. Even my lab mates call me social butterfly, but I don't think so. I'm one.
Same. Okay, so
And
let's
how
start.
do you get motivation then?
What?
Like how do you get motivation? Like what's your thing of getting motivated and post like on LinkedIn? Because I saw like you're very regular on LinkedIn.
Yeah. Okay, so my like this thing started in 2020, honestly.
Mm,
That time I started my channel on Instagram about say hi to serotonin. And my vision was like in 2020, we were all, everybody was sad because of COVID and things. And I felt like I'll be that happy molecule and I will
mm,
get some happiness through my writings because that time I just started my interest in writing. So that was the vision, honestly. But then I just kind of quit that. But again, I realized after going to IIT that I started this to share experiences, and even a small experience, like your small experience, can be a very big learning for somebody else's.
yes, that's true.
Yeah, like a very small example. Me and my sister were home alone that day, and somebody was washing the walls outside of our house, and there is a doorbell right outside the house, and he or she by mistake put the water on that, and everybody was getting like shock, electric shock because of that. My sister got, and we were at first floor and we were getting electric shock on that wire which was at first floor, and we wasn't getting what's that. So I shared that on Instagram. I felt like I have shared this, now other people would also be aware, though it's very
Mm.
small example of the life. I think every day we do some things which can inspire somebody. So it's like started from very small things. So on LinkedIn also, like you said, you are introvert. I am also very introvert and I don't share my things at all. So it was like a big task for me to write. So when I shared about my 75 hard, earlier I thought I won't share with anyone. It's my very personal. Why should I share or brag? I am doing 75 hard. But then I thought like other people would also be inspired, and they'll also
Hmm.
like good eating habits and healthy habits. Like with PhD also you can maintain your protein, carbs, and because in India, even if we eat chole bhature at home, we call it healthy. But okay,
Hmm.
bhature is still protein, but bhature in oil is not healthy.
Yeah, that's true. But it's comfort food.
Yeah, we should eat it, definitely. I would say we should eat
Hmm.
it. Just we should be aware that it's not healthy.
Yeah, that's true.
Like you cannot have golgappas at home and you say you are done with your food. No, it wasn't your food. It was just a treat. But we used to think like that many times. Like if we are eating potatoes or like aloo chaat and we are calling it's healthy because it's at home. No, it's just carbs. You didn't have your protein of a day. So I just
That's true.
wanted to share about all of that, like which I didn't know. I want people to know. I think many people got aware because of that.
Hmm. That's true.
Yeah. And have you heard about Food Farmer? I am so inspired of him.
Like what food farmer? It's a YouTuber or something? Like,
He's influencer. He's getting so much fame these days
hmm.
in India because
No, I have not watched his content. Everybody thinks like if I'm making content, so I
he's
must be spending most of my time on YouTube channel. But seriously, sometimes I do not even get to scroll the screen.
getting you.
So no, no, I don't know about him. But is it good?
Yeah, like he has shown the power of social media, honestly. He just created a video a year ago about Bonvita, that how much sugar Bonvita adds and call it like immunity builder and things like that, and how sugar is bad for our health. So, like when he created the video, Bonvita
Mm.
company, I think I don't know the actual name of the actual company, gave him a letter from the court, like he should remove his video. He did that because he was scared. But after that, the team of doctors and nurses came together and scientists and researched on Bonvita, and they had to remove the tagline "Tan aur man ki shakti" because it's just sugar. It's sugar. It's not
Oh,
healthy at all. And now he's a big influencer who's just breaking the bad marketing of, you know. So that's like one of my aim. I just want to do something like that.
oh, that's cool.
It's like okay. So let's start with the actual like content interview thing about how
Hmm.
should students go about the application process. So let's start
Hmm.
with the first question. Can you walk us through the overall process of applying for a PhD program in the USA? Like what factors did you consider when selecting potential universities for your application? Like if you can tell us in short.
Okay. So that's one thing for sure that if I'm applying for a chemistry, as I mentioned, I didn't had maths background. I didn't had a mathematics background after my 10th standard. So, so when I was shortlisting the university, so I had given my IELTS score. I knew what's the area of research I'm doing, and I knew I didn't want to study maths. So, and what are the potential locations I want? Because US is not that much safe, and I wanted to like live in a small city, like not that expensive city, because I just wanted like a small city with small number of populations. Yeah. So when I was shortlisting it, the first thing I considered was the professor, apart from the location, everything. So, so suppose I'm going every day. So my day would look like, so one day I'm shortlisting all the universities. I would never, I don't think so. I went below top 500 because I think that I had that much of potential. Plus, if I'm writing a paper, that might increase my chance of getting a selection in like a upper university. So I used to search on US News. It's a website where you can search about the US universities, and there's also top US universities. So it's usnews.com and top US university, something like that. On that, it will search your field. Like if my field is chemistry, so it will tell like what's the how's the faculty there, what's the position of the chemistry field is there, what it looks like. And there from that university, suppose I have it in my Excel sheet, then my first will be, then the second will be GRE. Is the GRE waived off in the university? Is it not waived off in the university? So I would write yes or no in front of that. Then I will look at the IELTS score. Since I already had my IELTS score, IELTS score, so I would write like mine is, because mine was a 7 band. So if they're asking for like 7 to 8, I would just mark it as a cross. Then the third would be I would go through their site and I will look for the options like what are the eligibility criteria they have mentioned. So if they have mentioned maths, I would definitely remove that. The fourth thing would be at least three professors whose background aligns with me. I would highly suggest everyone that apply in that university who have at least three professors of your field. Because if the things might not work with one professor, at least you can rotate to the other professor and you do not have to change the proper state. So uh, check if they have like three professor, and I would select them. Then the fourth thing would be what's the application deadline when it's getting close, when it's getting started. Am I ready for that? Will I be ready for till that date? And what are the kind of assistantship they are providing? Is that a teaching assistantship or research assistantship, and do they have a funding? And the fifth will be like the contact of every mail. So US universities are really very good at like replying through mails. So if you have message, like if you have mailed them like a one day, they will get back to you the another day, like within 24 hours. So if I had any questions about do I need this, do I need this score, and what about my transcripts and all those things, like do they need any kind of certificate? So uh, I collected only those university which were under 500, which had three professors, which whose area aligned with me. And the other thing was, most of them were like asking for a certificate which is of 2 pages, and some of them were asking of 3 pages. Obviously, I would shortlist the university which has 2 pages, because I don't want to edit my like CV resume all again and again. So the resume should be of 2 pages, and then the SOP should be in the word limits of this, and that should answer these of your questions. Mostly the all things are same. It's just like the number of words vary, but it's fine if it's under a 1 page. And then I started reaching out to the professor. So that all these things I mentioned, I mailed at least 50 universities. I mailed in at least 50 universities. Out of the 50 universities, I got a reply from 12 universities. From those 12 university, then I look at the professor, like how's it, like is he starting new? Because I didn't want it to like get under a professor who just started like new. I wanted to go under, that's my like preference. So I wanted to go under a professor who's like worked on so many things and he has an experience. So that might help in my research also. So from that, I shortlisted 8 universities, like which I wanted, and then apply for the fee waiver. And I got fee waiver from 5 universities. So I paid the fees of only 3 universities. So that's how it like looked like. But you have to spend a lot of time. I spent my whole August in shortlisting university, just in shortlisting universities and applying to them. In my September, I applied for the I guess fee waivers, because if you want to apply in October, like apply, then I would suggest at least 1 month before that apply for the fee waiver. You might end up getting one, and they don't look at those criteria. Like we will give fee waiver to the those like who have good research background, who have this scholarship. I think so. They might consider these things, but according to me, it's like a first come first service.
That's great. So one question, like you told about,
Hmm.
and I know the PhD duration in US is 5 to 6 years, right?
Yes.
So why didn't you think of other countries which can provide you PhD in 3 years or 4 years?
Yeah, I thought about it since I told you like I was like for more of a biology background. So I wanted to study those courses which had like chemistry. So during my master it was COVID, and I'm not good at like studying online. I don't think so. It's my thing. So the basic knowledge somewhere was lacking, and that was the reason. Like because in US, along with PhD, they you have to have study the courses for like 3 years. After 3 years, they will like let you go like do it whatever you want to do, or you have to complete those credits within your 2 years, which is just like masters. So I thought like it would be very much beneficial for my like basic
Mhm.
knowledge. So that's the reason I applied here. And I didn't want it to go in Europe because they have different language, and I don't think so I can sustain in the country like in Germany, France, or somewhere which has different language. It gets very, very, very hard to communicate with the people.
It is. I know my friend who is co-founder of Cab as well, Abhishek, when he landed there in Germany and he wanted to take a cab and he was lost. Even like we
Yeah, he told me about this story.
800
Yeah.
and things.
But yeah, I know how I reached like how I found the cab. I didn't even like know like how to spell my apartment, what to tell that person. Yeah,
Yeah.
he told
And
me
even
about
he
that.
had, those notes, like because we prepared some notes for him, but communicating gets so tough. And then he found some like Indian guy, Punjabi uncle, then he helped him. And his
Yeah,
life
so
also got lost there. And in buses also there is all the like communication in German, delivery, everything. Like,
that was the reason. That was the reason I didn't want it to go in a country where there are different language.
okay. So the next thing which is important is application materials. So what
Hmm.
documents are typically required for a PhD application? Like I know it's like CV, email, SOP, and cover letter, but SOP is not a great like it's not very much required in Europe. If you're attaching your cover letter, it's fine, which is a mix of bit SOP and but I have heard in US SOP is a make or break. So yeah, you can tell.
Yes, SOP is like very, very, very important, I would say, in US. Because that's the first thing I think they read after you're like reading, you're going through your resume. So SOP consists of like four parts. The first part is that why do you want to do a PhD? What motivated you? The second part is where you have to tell like you have to relate from what you have studied so far, how it's going to help you, what kind of experience do you have. Third is why do you want to do the PhD under these professors, what did you like in them, and what's the reason. And the fourth part is what thing motivated you to do a PhD. And I think you have to have spent like so much of time on it, because I that's very important. I spent 1 month on writing my SOP. So the only tip I would give to person, I know it's very hard, I'm not a good writing person also. So what I did was I went through YouTube, I went through Google, every single SOP people have uploaded there, because like the persons like us, the persons like you, we upload our SOP, right? When we were like initially connecting to the people, I also made a YouTube video on that. So there were also like people similar to that, and I screenshotted their SOP. I went through the like what they are writing, what are they explaining in their SOP, and what I should explain in my SOP. And that's how I like wrote my SOP. And I also took the help of app Grammarly, because I wanted to check my plagiarism, because there are software in US which can detect the amount of like plagiarism. They say so. I don't know if it's true or not, but I didn't want it in plagiarism in my SOP. And the other thing is like spelling mistakes and all those things. So it's just also very important, because you want to sound like that you have a good grammatical knowledge and all those things. You have a good grammar. So it's very important to have the SOP. And other than that, we have, along with the statement of purpose, I guess we have another thing. It's a personal statement. Yes, it's a personal statement. So in some of the universities, I avoided those universities personally. But there was this one university where I wanted to go, which was Michigan State University. That was my dream university. So I didn't end up getting there, but it's fine. So I wrote a personal statement for that also. In the personal statement, you have to, so in the SOP, you explain about your, like the field you have gone through. It's a more of a formal thing. But in the personal statement, you have to explain how the research has made you a better person. Why are you the only one you think that can make a change in the research, and how like your childhood like say like aligned with the field. Why did you choose to be in the PCB or PCM field? It's all of these things, like it is a very more of a personal statement. And when you'll go through their site, it's not like there's a particular sections you have to cover. So there's this, for example, if there's any specific university you want to apply to, and you will go through their site, and they will mention like the eligibility criteria, and suppose they're like SOP written. So they will explain to you step by step that what do they want in your SOP. So for example, if you end up completing your SOP, just check again with that university website that you have all those things written in your SOP.
Getting you. Makes sense. I never knew about personal statement thing.
Yeah, that's also like some of the people ask, like Michigan State ask it. So they ask statement of purpose, personal statement, then your resume, and I think there's another thing which they ask. And plus, the Michigan State University, they have waived off the application fee for all the. I know about chemistry, so they have waived off the application fee.
Okay. Do they even ask about research proposal sometimes? Or are there like rounds of interview?
Um, so I won't say that's like an interview is like they will ask you so many questions about it. So my personal experience with interview was when I was applying through university. So like one or three professors reached out to me that they want to talk to me. Like can we have a meeting or something like that? So in that meeting, they asked me like, what was your research, and what type of characterization did you did, and what kind of subjects did you studied in your bachelor's and master's? And then they asked like, why are you interested in my project? I think it's a kind of interview, but I would say that was a kind of communication. So they introduced me like, they have this instruments in their lab, they have this thing, they have this thing. The students is from this background, they have completed their bachelor's from there. You can also find an Indian student in your lab also. So they didn't ask me like formal questions. So can you tell me the chemistry of a methanol molecule? It's not like that, I would say. So it was very much normal, like communication. For example, just like we are having, it was just like that. So I had like three interviews, and but the interview which I had at here in my university, so it is compulsory here to take rotations if you want to. So, but they will give you option of three rotations. You can take three rotations if you suppose you do not like the one professor. So you can take rotations. So I had interview with all of the three professors after applying, but it was after applying in the universities. And we do not have to write the research proposal. I think it's more of a thing in Australia or maybe New Zealand. But we do not write research proposal here. I maybe for the I think for Case Western Reserve University, I did, but I don't remember now. I'm not familiar with like I wrote a research proposal or something.
Yeah, I think it depends on professor to professor because when I was applying in Europe and these like countries like
Hmm.
Australia, New Zealand, so in New Zealand, even nobody asked me for letter of recommendation. So
Hmm.
without letter of recommendation, I got admission. And in like Europe, I got one reply from professor and he asked me to write like proper research proposal. And that
So did
time
you write one?
I wrote, but I did one mistake that time. I did not reply him for a week because I took week, like I just took a week to write it and then I replied. So I
We
never got
have this,
replied.
yeah. So we have this very bad habit of not replying to the mail. So for example, like suppose my professor sends me mail and he has said like, you need to do these correction, you need to do these correction. I feel like when I'll do the corrections, I'll reply that to the mail.
Yeah.
That's the only time. And they expect us to, thanks for letting me know, I'll get back to you. They just want that thing. And the time like when you will be getting back to them.
I'm also like, always like that, but I did not know why I did that during that time. So I replied after a week and I never got a reply. So I always suggest like guide students always reply because you are asking PhD position. Like they also want PhD. Obviously, it's equal kind of.
Hmm.
Also want their work from you, but at least let them know that you want a week or you want this.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So like you prepared for IELTS, but usually students prepare for TOEFL for US.
Hmm.
Why
Hmm.
did you go for IELTS and how did you prepare? Like you did coaching or how did?
So I prepared for IELTS in around April 2022. I gave my exam in April 2022, and I completed my master's in August 2022. So, and I started applying in August 2022 when I finished my master's. So before that, I wasn't sure in which country I wanted to go. I had no clue. So some of my friends had their relatives in Australia. Some of their relatives was in Germany. So they were thinking that way, this way. But I never had any relatives which were residing in abroad, not even a single relative. So I wasn't sure like which university should I go to, whose research is going to be much better. So IELTS is like internationally recognized. It's also recognized in US now. It's recognized in Canada and in Australia also. So we always have these three countries like in our head. So that was the reason I end up giving my IELTS, because there is so much content if you look on YouTube regarding IELTS. I don't think so. It's more on TOEFL. So people are even giving free coaching on IELTS. I
Yeah.
remember it was my like midterm exam was going on when I was giving my IELTS exam. So what I did was so I think the only thing which motivates me to do something is the pressure. So the first thing I did was like after I was going through the paper, I was going through the videos of IELTS, I was going through the books which was of IELTS. After that, I thought of like I will book a slot, I will book a date, and I will give the IELTS exam. So I booked this slot exact date like after 1 month. Obviously, it's a 15,000 worth of rupees exam. So you don't want to waste that much amount of money. I was also worried.
Same.
So that creates a pressure in your head that you have to study for that. So for the listening part of it, there's a YouTube channel called IELTS Resources. There was all of the listening videos where you can listen to and you can practice of listening. So there are like 100, I would say 99 or 88 videos are there. And for the writing part, I watched the video of IELTS with Liz. So there's this woman which can help you like in writing. She tells you like in Blackboard, what should you write? How should you start your essay? How should you explain this? And there's this reading part. So for the reading part, there's a Makkad IELTS book. So it's Makkar. It's a book like that where you can practice your reading and you can set a timer of 60 minutes, and then you can cross check your answers after that. So what I did was during my reading, I made a habit that whatever I read, I'll read that for the first time and I will try my best to understand that in the first time.
Yeah.
So because they're given a 60 minutes, so I was going through the reading and every time I was like translating that paragraph in under like in my head that I've read this, I know what is this. Because I was concerned, what if a topic came from politics? How would I deal with that? But it was fine. So that's how I practiced for reading for like 15 days. For writing, I practiced for 30 days. So every time I was doing my writing, I was showing that to my roommate or to a person who I think like whose English was better than me. Because my writing is not that good. I make ton of grammatical errors, mistakes. So uh, I was every time I was showing that to a different person, like, does my writing looks good? Does it have any errors? Because obviously I was not taking coaching. For the speaking, so it's very fun. So we all roommates, like during our masters, we have this habit of going on a stroll after the dinner.
Yeah.
So our schedule was our like because me and my roommate, she was planning to go Australia and I was planning to move to US. So after every time we had dinner in the hostel, we went for stroll and she will give me a cue card. Say, for example, Priya, speak about badminton for like 2 minutes. Speak about a teddy bear for a 2 minutes. And there was like a whole random topic. And she would give me 1 minute, which is exactly like you have to speak for 2 minutes in IELTS, 1 minute for you will be given for thinking. So I think that helped me a lot. And for the 1 month, I practiced that, and that's the reason I think I get like a 7. I get 7.5 in my speaking, which was good, I guess.
Which was really good.
Yeah, I didn't practice. I didn't take coaching for IELTS exam. I didn't think that it's worth it, but I think it's beneficial for the people
Yeah.
uh who have like who have problems like trouble pronouncing a lot of things.
Yeah. So, one more thing, like how these test scores are important. Like, I think you talked about that 6.5 or 7 bands. It's like university to university, right?
Yeah, so it depends upon university. So university. So in some of the universities like 7 to 8. In Michigan, I think is 7.5. So that will be written on the university's website. So I would suggest you to give your IELTS before shortlisting it. Would make your life easier. Otherwise, you will not have that pressure of that for this university. If I want to go, I get an admission in this, I have to score 7.5, and it creates a burden in your head. So I would suggest you to take your IELTS exam before shortlisting the universities. Otherwise, if there is any specific or like pre thought version of university that you have in your mind that you have to go in that university only.
Yeah. Got it. Also, about letter of recommendation, did your supervisors, like three of three interviewed you, right? From the same university. So did they ask about LOR?
Yes, so they did. So one of my LOR I had from my Delhi University professor, and one of them I had from my professor uh, whom I did my like research project like with, and the third was with who taught me like the courses. So I would suggest you first take it from the one where you have done your research project or an internship. Second, take it from the one like either your bachelor's or either your master's, and the third you should take it from the one who have taught you at courses or like he was a part in your specialization or something.
That's great. So, like LOR, you used to get directly from your professors, or you had to write some template and then he or she used to add something in that?
Yeah, so my most of the professors, like my two of the professors were like this, apart other from like not from my bachelor's. So I just told her that I need an LOR. I would be applying in the US universities. And she asked me, like, is there any specific you want me to add in the university, like in your LOR? So I told her, yeah, just add about the skills like I did. Because I was a biochem kind of student. So I told her to write about the things which I like kind of practical I did during my bachelor's, like DNA electrophoresis and all those things, that I have those skills. And for my master's, they asked me, like, can you write for one for us and we will edit it according to us.
Yeah.
So I wrote all this, like, very, it's very hard when it comes to writing for yourself, but I managed to write a it is like I managed to write an LOR for them. So then they edited it and they submitted. So universities usually contact them for the LOR. So here's the link, and you upload the LOR for your student. The
Cool.
other thing is you don't know what they have written in your LOR. So it's just good to ask only those professors who think will give a good opinion about you.
That makes sense. Now comes the most important part, which students usually worry about: fundings and scholarships. So what's in like US, in New Zealand and Australia, we have to apply separately, mostly separately for the scholarship if we are reaching to the professor. Sometimes they have funds, but it happens about scholarship. And in because in New Zealand and Australia, we have to pay fee as well for PhD, and it's like expensive,
Hmm.
tax around per year. So we have to apply for that scholarship as well. But in Europe,
Hmm.
in Germany,
Hmm.
there is no fee. You just get your stipend. So how is the case in US?
So in US, usually the scholarship like comes with the offer letter. So in your offer letter they will mention you about the how much amount you will be getting during your PhD, or will you be given that stipend from your research assistantship or teaching assistantship. So they will be mentioning, they will mention all of those things. Otherwise there is not any separate I would say, like, we have to ask somebody else to give us funding. There is not any criteria like that. We just get that in our offer letter, that for a yearly you will get around $22,000 or something like that. So it usually comes with the offer letter, and there's any, otherwise the professors will reach out to you that we do not have any funding, so we are not willing to take you. It's just like that.
Perfect. And is there anything like visits in
So
US? What
one
happens
thing
may
which I
many
have
times,
heard,
like in New Zealand, it happens like professors sometimes ask you to come here for interview, like if you can. And even in, I think in Max Planck also I have heard sometimes they ask you, can you come? We can even pay you for your flights and all. Can you come for the visit and give interview and presentation here before we select you? So is there anything like that in US?
I've not heard about this thing. Maybe that can happen in a top tier university or something, maybe for Harvard or a big university, but I don't like remember that's happening to like me. They usually, everybody prefers Zoom after COVID, I would say. Yeah.
So, okay. So the next thing, how did you manage the application timeline, including deadlines for various document and tests? And like when you apply to different universities, you have to prepare, I think, different statement of purpose according to
Yes.
that university. So how did you manage those documents?
Oh, that year, at that period, because it was very hectic, I lost around 4 kgs. So yeah, that was really stressful because it's not like that. Like when I was completing my master's, so the research project I was doing, it was not part of my master's. So it was like a separate thing. So also like during before my master like ended, I had to submit the thesis also. Like my professor said, like just submit it in September or October something, so I can give you the certificate that you have actually done this 1 year project under so my supervision. So in August, the portal you opens. I was not planning to apply, but I just changed my mind that I will just apply after my master's. I didn't want it to wait for like one whole year of period. So in August, I started shortlisting the universities. I shortlisted every day. And for the, I would say 23 days, the thing I was doing was just writing my thesis, editing my thesis, and making an Excel sheet for the university, shortlisting university every day, what are the things that I have, or all those things. Then in August, after I shortlisted all the universities in September, I started reaching out to the professors. the one who gave me like positive reply, I made my mind that I will apply under these university, because if the professor is giving a positive response, that might increase your chances that he or she can push your application forward in the committee. So that's why I decided to like I'll apply under these university. And some of them were like very basic reply that uh, thank you for reaching out to me. You can, for the application process, you have to go through the website and apply there. Like what kind of message should I be receiving from that email? So that was happening also. So during August, I prepared the cover letters. I edited. Also, I was editing my resume. So in the September, I was also editing my resume too, because I saw that you have to have 2 pages of resume. And I think Gap, your Grab a PhD helped me a lot in preparing my resume, because I had the same format just like you guys. It's just the words were different, because those resembled with my field, exceptionally the well, um most important was the course project which you had mentioned in your Grab a PhD. That was really very important, and that filled my gap in the resume, because it should be of 2 pages, right? We do not in India. I don't think so. We get that much of opportunity to do internships, right?
In
It's
that.
here. It's like it's even undergrads are doing the research project, and most of the in bachelors, I don't think so. We get that kind of experience. So I think that course project thing of one which was mentioned on your LinkedIn, Grab a PhD, it helped me a lot, like to fill the gap. So in August, I shortlisted the university. In September, I edited my resume and I started writing my SOP. It was like very bland SOP, not like very good. So after I completed my resume in around September end, I reached out to all the professors. In October, I gave my thesis, and in October, I started writing my SOP. During that period, I reached out to all the professor. Like I made my mind that I want to ask him for the LOR. So I would suggest you to at least ask 1 month prior to the application like process, because they also need time to prepare their head that we have to write an LOR. So just remind them 1 month prior to the application process. So in October, I told them that I want to apply in this university and all those things, and I completed my SOP. I got my transcripts from the university, because and make sure if you are from Delhi University, it's going to take 1 month. So plan ahead. And after that, I took all the certificates. I assembled all the certificates which I had. Maybe they'll ask me during when I'm applying, because I wasn't sure like what kind of the certificates they would ask me when I'm applying to the portal. So in US, you have to actually go through the websites. They have a proper specific websites. There you can upload your documents, your GRE, your IELTS certificates, and all those things. Then in November, I started actually applying for the university. November was the proper month where my whole time was spent. So 1 week I was spending on one university, because when you'll go through the portal, they have so many things in their website. You have to fill on the basic information, your personal information, your contact number, your mail ID, everything goes there. So it took me like 1 week to fill like a single university. I applied in 8 universities. My professors were even tired to like upload my mail again, because they had to also change the name of the university again and again in the LOR. I think so. And for my SOP, so I wrote a very general SOP. So there was like some lines, like some a paragraph where you have to mention that why specifically you want to go in that university. So every time, what I did was I used to Google the university, or sometime I used to go through the like normal Google. What's good about this university? Yeah, so I usually wrote these kinds of things. Yeah, your faculty is good, because I have never been to US. How would I know like what's good about your university, except the fact that I have like heard your name. That's very popular. So I used to Google it, and whatever the thing was, I used to paraphrase it according to my language, and then I used to just like edit that thing, that those sentence in the blank gap. That this is the reason why I want to go to university, because your programs are really good, the faculty is very exceptional, the instrumentation facility you have. And I will look at the name of the instrumentation facility. For example, here in my university is NCMN. So I would like NCMN is very good. So they know that I really searched about this university. So I used to just change that paragraph why I want to take admission in this university. And the other thing I was doing was, because I wrote cover letter for each of the professors, right? So in that I mentioned that why am I interested in your research? I read your paper. So I would take that line from my cover letter and I used to edit that in my SOP that I'm interested in this professor and this is the reason why I'm interested. So it was just like changing two sentences, which was about why I want to apply in this university, and the other was which professor I'm interested to work with and why.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, cool. So I think we have covered all the things which is required. So one last question about this thing. Do you want to give any particular advice to the students who are going to apply for this year US application process? And are there any like misconceptions or myth like students have and they don't apply, or they are just very stressed about things and not living in the present moment?
Um, so everyone thinks that if you don't have any relatives, you don't have any connections with any person, it's very hard to apply in the universities. But I think like my dad says it, I don't know how to translate that in English. बट जब तक तुम रास्ता ढूंढोगे नहीं तो मिलेगा कहाँ से? लाइक तुम अगर बाहर निकलोगे ना और पूछोगे लोगों से कि मुझे यहाँ जाना है, तो वो बताएंगे कि हाँ भाई यहाँ जाना है, क्या पता गलत भी बता दे सही भी बता दे. तो you have to try it. Even with, like the pressure you feel like the documentation is too much, we have to write SOP, we have to write resume and all those things. It looks like a big job, but the reality is just like a single piece of document.
Yeah,
If you have done enough research, if you have done everything, I don't think so anything can stop you. Just you have to explain it that why are you capable of applying in for the PhD position. And the other thing is just save your parents' money as much as you can, because the universities mostly apply for the fee waivers. So just plan ahead, plan all the things according to that. Get rid of all the parties and all those things. Stop hanging around in the weekends. Just spend your time during the weekend searching for that, and go ahead, plan ahead. So because the fee usually is around $50 to $75. So if I'll convert that in Indian rupees, it's like 20,000 something, 18,000, 20,000 something. So every time when you're applying, you're just saving your parents' money by 20,000.
yeah,
So I applied in three universities where I paid like one where it was $50 and the other it was $75. But it still used to feel like very much because, for example, this is the case, right? You are applying to the university, you are paying $75 application fee, and then they are rejecting you. It doesn't make sense to me. So just plan ahead, go for the fee waiver, and before asking anyone, now the social media is like a powerful tool. Go through the videos. See, this is the video we are uploading. We are helping you out. Go through the videos before like reaching out to any person that I need your help. Can you help me writing in my SOP? Like this is the question I get a lot because I'm sharing my story on PhD, my YouTube video, but it's not about like counseling. I'm not even a pro at like looking at the people other SOP. I don't think so. I also would love to do this because like when I was writing mine, I had a very hard time writing that because I hated writing. So like reach out to the right people who are like looking for it, who are looking to read your SOP, who are willing to edit your SOP, willing to give you a suggestion. I can give you a suggestion. Look at what about this university? What have you suggestions about this university? But I don't think so. I'm gonna give you a good counseling on that. So go through the all the YouTube videos. Then if you have any questions, reach out to the right people who can help you with that. And that's what I did. Reach out to the people on LinkedIn who are doing their postdoctorate. Sometimes they do not have any that much of followers. So that's what I used to do. The people who were uploading videos on YouTube, only like the small content creators who had like 700 and 500, they are the one who are willing to help people because they do not have that much of pressure from the social media. So I think that can help because every time, because now, for example, my reach has increased a lot. So I get around like mails, 15 to 20 mails sometimes in a week. And that gets very hard to reply each of them. And I feel like if I'll reply this, maybe I'll get another one. But sometimes I also want to help because I was in the same situation. I was in the same boat. So I
yeah.
would suggest reach out to the right people who are looking to help you.
True, true. It's just like where there is a will, there is a way.
It's a way. Yeah.
Exactly. So, Priya, last
Okay.
question, which is about life. Were there any unexpected challenges you faced or any social pressure? Because in India, if a girl gets around 21 or 22, there are some societal pressures as well. And specifically, you are a daughter-like girl, then there are other pressures. I'm not saying that boys don't have any pressure. They also have, like, they have to earn for the family. Everybody. It's just, I am
Hmm.
about this right now. So, yeah.
So initially, when I told my parents that I wanted to go abroad, they were like, they were having a very hard time to accept this decision. Do you want? Why are you making your life very tough? Why do you want to go abroad if you do not have any relatives that are over there? But still, apart from that, they were saying like, the common trend in, I think everywhere. I'm talking about India only. So common trend is like if you have completed your masters because you are from academic background, so they want you to continue your studies. They will sometimes force you to do a B.Ed also, like which is a bachelor's of education. After that, you can continue teaching, and they consider that teaching is a very good job for a woman. It's like a proper 9 to 5 job, some more secure job. So sometimes, like my parents used to, like in a funny way or sometime in a serious way, they used to say like, "You have finished your masters, and after that, we'll get your admission in a B.Ed, good college, and then if you doesn't get a good job or something, then I think it will be a very right age for you to marry someone." And I wasn't ready for that. I don't think so. I'm ready to become someone's wife. As of now, I don't think so. I have that age. I'm only 23. So I have so many things that I want to explore. So I would rather do that than being someone else's wife. I have my identity and I wanted to explore that. So I think that was also the decision that motivated me to do a PhD, which is abroad.
Yeah.
Because I could have done a PhD also in India, but the case will remain the same because my age will be increasing also. So in my PhD second year, they might uh, like not force me, but they will like convey the messages that I think you should get married. I think you should get
Yeah.
married, and I didn't wanted that like that weird conversation. So now they don't even talk about marriage. That's a very good part.
Great.
They know that I have so
Yeah.
many things going around, and that's the least thing I want to talk about. Even if sometimes my dad brought up this thing sometimes, saying that we'll find a boy for you like this, and okay, Papa, it's time to end the call. Bye bye.
True. And they also start to
And he
understand
also
your
gets it
thoughts.
that I'm not ready to
Yeah,
get married or something.
true. Cool. Yeah. Okay, Priya. So it was a lovely conversation with you. Thank you for joining this conversation. It's going to be really helpful for the students, I think.
Thank you so much, Shalu, for inviting me on this platform. It means a lot. Thank you.